And roll call vote of subjects discussed in closed meeting. May I have a motion?
Yes, I'll make a motion. We adopt the certificate of closed meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Do we have a second?
I second that.
Thank you, Ms. Diggs. Is there any discussion? There being none, Ms. Lau, may we have the roll call vote, please?
Yes.
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 Yes. Item 2.3, approval of personnel action. May I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the personnel action as listed.
Thank you, Mrs. Hodges. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We are now adjourned from closed session. I'd now like to call to order the March 17th, 2026 Matthews County School Board regular monthly meeting with item 1.1. Item 1.2 is our Pledge of Allegiance. Would you please join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 1.3, Ms. Lau, may we have the roll call?
Here.
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 Present.
Present. Thank you. Item 1.4, approval of the agenda, additions and deletions. May I have a motion?
Yes, I make a motion to approve the agenda as listed.
Thank you, Ms. Diggs. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Bohannon-Stewart. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item 1.5, consent agenda. May I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the February 3rd, 2026 special meeting / community and civic organization school tour, February 17th, 2026 closed meeting and regular monthly meeting, February 24th, 2026 public hearing and joint school board, Board of Supervisors budget work session, and February 25th, 2026 school board winter work session, revised governance norms and protocols, reviewed policies by the School Board Policy Committee, bus request, revised school board meeting schedule, revised 2025-2026 academic calendar, revised school board budget calendar, and monthly claims as presented on the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mrs. Hodges. May we have a second?
I second that.
Thank you, Ms. Diggs. Is there any discussion?
Don't think so.
There being none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. And just to note that all of the claims dates are filled through the end of June. Item 1.6, the Matthews County School Board Governance Norms and Protocols. Ms. Diggs, would you do the honors?
Yes.
Thank you.
Exceptions for the participation in professional development. School board members are required to participate in high-quality professional development. Expectations for participation in meetings and conferences. School board members will contact the school board clerk if wishing to attend a meeting or conference.
Well, thank you, Ms. Diggs. And if you're not a regular visitor to the school board meetings, we do highlight 2 of our norms and protocols every month so that everyone has an understanding of the norms and protocols that we do indeed follow. Item 2, Student Spotlight. This is a new category for us where we want to highlight exceptional student performance. Mr. Mark Gibbons, would you please take the podium?
Thank you all so much for having me here tonight. I'm here on behalf of the music department at the middle school and the high school. We have had a lot of high achievements from our students recently that I wanted to highlight, one in particular that we're leading to, but we've had several different honor band auditions that our students have been a part of over the last several months. Our students participate in both the area band, which is lots of single high school districts from the Northern Neck and Middle Peninsula that get together and do an honor band together. Students audition at a single site and then are selected for an ensemble from that and get to participate in a band. Some of our students from the high school also go down a little further south to the Williamsburg, Newport News area and compete against all students in those schools. There is no distinction in school size, so it's all schools down there that we go up against in that, and students do the same thing down there. And we have some students at the high school level that are successful at that, so I wanted to highlight those students. We have some of our students who are with us in attendance today. When I call your name, if you could just stand to be recognized. So first, for our area band, we had in the junior area band, which is our 7th and 8th graders, we had Alex Osborne as an alternate euphonium player, Lily Yeager as an alternate alto sax player, Owen Shapiro as an alternate percussionist, Katie Hudgens as 22nd chair clarinet, Joseph Wagner, 15th chair clarinet, Spencer Copeland, 7th chair trombone, Lars Golden, 6th chair trombone, Presley Marrero, 4th chair tuba, Ada Barnes, 4th chair horn, Kaylee Jordan, 4th chair bass clarinet, Phoebe Crowder, 3rd chair euphonium, Sophia Eno, 3rd chair clarinet, and Keegan Walls, 1st chair trumpet. So those are our students that qualified for the junior area band.
Fantastic. Wonderful.
The senior high area band is our 9th through 12th grade students. And there we had Adam Dustin as an alternate on mallets, and John Payne also as an alternate on mallets. Hayden Owens as an alternate on snare, Bella Hockenberry, 7th chair clarinet, Charlotte Bailey, 6th chair trumpet, Alex McDevitt, 5th chair tuba, Logan Macias, 5th chair horn, Jordan Sadegh, 5th chair clarinet, Evelyn Welsh, 4th chair alto sax, Ivar Golden, 4th chair clarinet, Corey Zhang, 4th chair flute, Tristan Barnes, 3rd chair euphonium, Bethany Davis, 3rd chair trombone, Annabelle Miller, 3rd chair alto sax, Kate Christopher, 3rd chair trumpet, Gavin Williams, 2nd chair snare, Hunter Owens, 1st chair bass clarinet, Ethan White, 1st chair flute, and Toby Eskins, 1st chair trumpet. That's all in the senior band. Let's give them a round of applause.
Fantastic. Good job. That's fantastic.
The all-district band is a much higher level of competition. We have, I have all of our students audition for area band. Some students choose also to go above and beyond audition for the all-district band. Very high requirements and very talented students that they're going up against in that. We had this year 6 students qualify for that group as well. In the junior high band, we had Keegan Walls qualify as the 6th chair junior high trumpet. Ivar Golden was the 7th chair clarinet in the concert band. Jordan Sadegh was the 1st chair clarinet in the concert band. Kate Christopher was the 10th chair trumpet in the symphonic band. That's the highest band that they have for that. Toby Eskins was the 7th chair symphonic band trumpet, and Hunter Owens was the 1st chair symphonic band contralto clarinet. So all of these students worked very hard individually to achieve this. Hunter, because he was 1st chair in our district, he had the opportunity to go and audition for all-state band. And that's just to try out. Every one of our 16 districts in the state have a student on contralto clarinet that goes to JMU, and they all audition against each other. At that audition, Hunter Owens qualified as the 1st chair in the entire state for the contralto clarinet. So. And the really neat thing about it is that unlike getting picked for an all-state team for a sport, they actually get to go and kind of have an all-star game. So he gets to go to Richmond in April, and students from all across the state will come. They'll be working with conductors from around the country. All the top musicians in the state will be performing a concert together. So that is an open concert that people can come to and attend and support him as he does that. So we're very proud of his achievement in being part of the All Virginia Band.
Absolutely. And
Yeah, thank you for your dedication and commitment to these students. You've really brought out the best in them, and clearly a leader. We have not seen this level of achievement for many, many, many years here in Matthews. But as I think about it, competing against Northern Virginia, competing against Richmond, Norfolk, Virginia Beach, and that it's just, it's truly, Hunter and all of the students, it's just truly to be highly commended for your discipline and your commitment to the band. So thank you so much to both of you.
And Mr. Owens, if you would step forward, we have a little certificate for you and an opportunity for a picture. Mr. Koenig.
Oh, yes.
Item 2.2, more student recognition with Miss Rachel Morris, the art teacher.
Hi. We are here tonight to talk about our participation in the Matthews 250 poster contest that was maybe 2 weeks ago. This is Ellie Congrove and Nolan Swan, and I will let you know a little bit more about what they did in a minute. We were approached maybe November, December to participate in a poster contest sponsored by the Matthews 250 committee. And they came up with our prompt. It was what it means to me to be an American. And we kind of started on it when we came back from winter break, which is also when we started with the ice and the snow and all of the time off. But we pulled it together. We have about 101 art students. Every student participated. 30 were selected to go to the Bay School for a panel judging with Bay School employees and then committee members. And these guys are our winners. Nolan was first place. Ellie was second. Marley Brock was our third place. She actually can't be here tonight. She's got softball practice. She was able to make the reception though. These two weren't able to make the reception, so they made it here. So we're just trading off. Their work is all on display in the library in the courthouse right now. So if you want to see it, there are 30 pieces there and online as well. So
Fantastic performance. Congratulations.
I have some certificates. Let me just hand these out first. You award these first. Marley is not here. Can I give that to you?
Yes.
Please give to Marley. Ellie, thank you very much. Can you just take a moment to tell everybody what you drew and what it briefly what it meant to you?
So for mine, I actually chose a Ford F-150 truck. My papa had a red truck that it kind of stayed, like I remember it since being little, and he was always working on it. I actually made mine blue, but for me, what it means to be an American is something that lives on past your legacy, and my papa unfortunately passed away about 3 years ago. And his truck is something that still kind of brings us close together and reminds us of him. And in my mind, that's kind of the equivalent to things that make you an American that stay on forever.
Very good. Nice.
Yours was the most perplexing to me until I read the back, and then I was just like blown away. So if you would, first of all, congratulations, and secondly, if you would just share with them what you envisioned, what you drew, and what it meant to you.
Yes, ma'am. So mine was a little ambiguous. It was the first idea was Washington crossing the Delaware, and in history class, I was always looking at that photo, so it got burned into my memory. And then I just wanted it to be a little bit more original, and I thought of, you know, how we started our nation and the 13 colonies. So I was like, all right, let's get the state animals from each one and put them on that boat instead of Washington and his posse. And so that's what I did. Each colony got their own animal. Some of them had the same one. And what I feel like it means to be an American is freedom and honoring those that fight for that and put their lives at risk every day. Just like Delaware, just like Washington and them did, crossing the Delaware, fighting against England.
Very nice. Inspiring.
And thank you, Mrs. Morris, for bringing out the best in these students. Do we have a photo op for these?
Sure,
young
absolutely. Mr. Koenig? Fantastic. Thank you very much and congratulations. Great job.
Good, BA 250, BA 250, BA 250.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. All right. Moving on to item 3, questions or comments from our school board student representative. Ms. Ward, good to see you this evening.
Okay, so first, at the elementary school, we are calling this month our month of family engagement. Our school has been abuzz with activities and learning. Before beginning, a special thanks is sent to our local NAACP for their Stay Healthy drive. Each classroom teacher received sanitizing wipes and 2 extra boxes of tissues. We were also able to store leftover wipes, tissues, and sanitizer. We appreciate their efforts to help keep students healthy and in school by staying germ-free. At the end of last month, the resource team hosted a joyful art and musical showcase titled This Little Light of Mine. First and second grade students proudly displayed and shared their colorful artwork and filled the room with music as they performed lively selections inspired by folktales and spirituals. We kicked off the month with our One Book, One School program. Thanks to the generosity of Chesapeake Bank, every student and teacher received a copy of this year's novel, Charlotte's Web. Since the kickoff, students across the school take part in daily, chapter-related trivia questions, and families are encouraged to read together each night. This annual program is fantastic in establishing a culture of reading, building wide. On Friday, March 6th, we celebrated Read Across America. Students from Mrs. Burroughs' 7th grade class visited classrooms to share the memorial studies of Dr. Seuss, and many students participated in Spirit Day by dressing up as their favorite book character. 4th grade students participated in the National Assessment of Educational Progress. Students were assessed in either reading or math. The results are reported through the Nation's Report Card, which provides important information about academic progress and trends in education. Our family math night took place this past Thursday and was a great evening of learning and fun. Despite the interesting weather, Mrs. Williams' FCCLA members did a fantastic job setting up stations where families enjoyed hands-on math games and activities together. Students practiced math skills while working alongside their families. We were glad that Ms. Bohannon Stewart was able to join, and she was able to lend a helping hand to the student organizers. Later this month, on March 26th, we will host a fun night of literacy. During this event, parents will receive helpful information about our MTSS process and how it supports students' learning and success. Mrs. Doss kicked off the Great Computer Challenge. At the same time, our running club is making its return after starting in the fall. We have also posted a flyer for kindergarten camp to the school's social media page. Registration for K-Camp begins March 16th. This process also registers rising kindergartners for the 2026-2027 school year. An upcoming school-wide Spirit Day for St. Patrick's Day is in the works. Students and staff are asked to wear the color green, and the Courtesy Committee has planned a fun activity for staff. March has been full of learning, family involvement with the sprinkle of school spirit at MES. And then here are the updates for Thomas Hunter Middle School. Our Seahawks have had a fantastic month of learning. Our students have had the opportunity to visit 2 museums. 7th graders went to the Science Museum of Virginia, and 6th graders visited the Virginia Living Museum. Both of the trips were paid in full by the Gwynns Island Civic League Foundation. We cannot thank the community enough for their support from this organization. THMS is celebrating March Madness with reading and math skills where students are setting goals in class to meet. Students who meet their goals are able to earn prizes for their growth. Way to go, Seahawks. Come join Thomas Hunter Middle School students for a literacy night on March 26th. It's a night for THMS students to celebrate reading. Forms were sent home to reserve a spot for dinner. Parents, please send the forms back to your child's teacher. Congratulations to the Students of the Month at THMS. Congratulations to Caden Syhanick, Jackson Hode, Phoebe Crowder, and John West. Band students are preparing to head to the area band concert where students auditioned and were selected for this honor. Congratulations to the following THMS students who will be attending the concert: Phoebe Crowder, Kaylee Jordan, Ada Barnes, Presley Marrero, Lars Golden, Spencer Copeland, Joseph Wagner, Katie Hudgens, and Owen Shapiro. And thank you to Mr. Givens for his leadership in our music department. March is also Music in Our Schools Month in Virginia. We appreciate the extra rehearsals and after-school tutoring Mr. Givens and the Matthews High School Tri-M students provide for our middle school band students. Come support the band students as they also participate in the Coffee Shop Jazz on March 25th at 6:30 in the Matthews High School cafeteria. Let's stay focused and finish quarter 3 strong. We want our Seahawks here on time every day. Please check your child's grades in Power School to ensure that all assignments have been submitted. And then at the high school, spring sports are in full swing this month, with many of the first games of the season happening this week. On Friday, February 27th, many of our students were inducted into the National Beta Club. Congratulations to Mrs. Forrest and the 78 members of our Beta Club for being awarded the designation of being a National School of Merit. March is scholarship deadline month at Matthews High School, with at least 13 scholarships becoming due. Students can get their scholarship applications from the school counseling office. The new weapon detection system was implemented at the beginning of March, and although the first couple of days were a learning experience for everyone, things have gone much more smoothly as everyone has gained familiarity with the new system. Seniors successfully completed their mock interviews as they prepare for life after high school. We appreciate our school counseling department for everything they do to provide exciting career day activities for our students. Congratulations to Will Ware for bringing home second place out of 40 participants from 18 different schools in the JROTC drill meet at Gloucester High School. Congratulations also goes to Hunter Owens for placing first in the state in the contralto clarinet at the All Virginia Band auditions. Hunter is only the 5th student in the history of Matthews High School to qualify for the All Virginia Band. He will travel to Richmond on April 16th through 18th to rehearse with the top student band in the state, the All Virginia Symphonic Band. Thank you.
Wonderful report, Ms. Ward. Thank you. Moving on to item 4, student achievement. We have the Chesapeake Bay Governor's School, Mr. Rob Wright. It's not here. Do we have our participants? Would you like to take this one, Ms. Bohannon Stewart? That'd be wonderful.
Talk about what I saw recently.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I am the school board member that is also on the Chesapeake Bay Governor's School, which excites me greatly because I was a former science teacher. So recently I went to the Chesapeake Bay Governor's School Symposium. It was on a Saturday at VCU, early March, and man, what a great day for a former science teacher to see your former students up there. I was so impressed with their presentations. I saw all 4 senior presentations and was just, it exceeded my expectations. I knew it was going to be a great day, but it just exceeded my expectations. 3 of those 4 students won awards for their presentations, and being a total science nerd myself, I just was wowed that these high school students that were taking college classes were using statistical analyses that I didn't use till my junior year at Virginia Tech. analysis of variance, t-test, p-values. I was just super excited. So one of my favorite memories. So
That's great. Ms. Ward, I don't want to put you on the spot, but would you feel comfortable approaching the podium and speaking a little bit about your project? Sure. Thank you.
So, my project was to construct this sensor that measured water levels. It was designed by this man named Dr. Bresnahan, who works at UNC Wilmington. And the idea behind his project was that he would create this online repository that people can follow. It's like a step-by-step thing. And high school students would be able to purchase the sensor, construct it, and then use it to collect data on tides in their local areas. But COVID and some other things happened, and he wasn't able to have any high school classes actually attempt the project. He worked on it with his college students, one of which, Dylan White, used to go to Chesapeake Bay Governor's School, and he was like, I think this would be a really good thing for a senior at CBGS to do for their project. And so he brought it there, and Miss Beam thought that I would be a good fit for it. And so I basically just followed the instructions, built the sensor. I deployed it at Williams Wharf in like October, and I was able to catch the king tide. The data actually was pretty accurate. I did a statistical analysis like Ms. Bohannon said, and I found that it was statistically significantly accurate. So that's really meaningful data, I think, especially for this local area as we experience tidal flooding regularly. And yeah, it was really exciting. It was a really rewarding experience. I loved the presentation. I was super nervous for it, but it went pretty well. So
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Members, do you have any questions or comments for Ms. Ward? Go ahead, Ms. Diggs.
Living down here in Matthews all my life, and being a person who loves the water, I think that project suits you great, and I think you did a fantastic job, spur of the moment, to come up and present to everyone. Thank you.
thank you.
That's terrific. That's terrific. Thank you for all that you're doing for us as well. Congratulations on a great research project. We appreciate all your
very much.
efforts. Good job, girl. That's good. All right, moving on to item 5, citizens' questions, comments, or requests. Comments not pertaining to personnel or student matters. The protocol for public comment period, Matthews County residents and school employees wishing to speak should sign up with their name and address on the sheet provided. Each individual will have 3 minutes to speak. Comment period will end after 90 minutes. All comments should be directed to the school board. Speakers shall not address matters involving students or personnel, as these topics may violate confidentiality and are not appropriate in a public forum. Public comment is the school board's opportunity to listen to the speaker. Since our purpose is to hear from you, the board will not engage in dialogue with the audience or whomever is at the podium. Matters requiring a response will be directed to the superintendent for research and response. The superintendent may report back on such matters at a subsequent business meeting session as appropriate. The school board carefully considers your comments when deciding on matters brought before us. We appreciate your attendance and your input. Our first speaker this evening is Barbara L. Bowling.
Hello, my name is Barbara Bowling, and I live in the Bohannon area of Matthews. It has come to our attention that next school year we will not have a transportation supervisor. I'd like to point out that the transportation department is no different than our schools. We have a supervisor, principal per se, guiding a trained, licensed, skilled group of workers. That supervisor is also skilled, trained, licensed, and has multiple certifications. He not only has to keep up with state and federal mandates related to the safe transportation of our children, but has to see that the workers adhere to those guidelines and keep them straight. A feat in itself dealing with a bunch of women. It is being said that our supervisor's duties will be divided. This has been tried before. It didn't work. As members of the transportation department team, we respectfully request a private meeting with this board to discuss the plan and potential issues. The impact of losing our supervisor will be a cluster. We need your help. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Bowling. Our next speaker is Ms. Linda Smith-Grieve.
Good evening. My name is Linda Smith, and I am President and General Manager of Virginia's Little Opry. I'm here tonight to speak to the proposed Matthews County Public School Facility Use Manual and Fee Schedule. First, I would like to say thank you. When Dunks Theater fell in January 2016, my father and I came to those in your position at the time with a plea for help, and it was met with a resounding yes. You gave us hope and a place, and we will forever be grateful for that, especially since the building that was promised to be rebuilt never came to fruition. Last year, we celebrated 50 years in this county, and we have the school system partly to thank for that. 50 years. I would love nothing more than to stay in this county and put on shows for another 50 years, or someone could, to bring good, wholesome entertainment that is affordable for anyone, especially those on a budget, and who isn't on a budget right now, where young people can come and learn and grow and perform like I did all my life. But this document, as written, will not allow that. Whether it pushes us out because we are too regular of a user or because of fees so high that we couldn't begin to afford them each show without raising ticket prices, which would price out a lot of those people I mentioned on a budget. I was informed last week that my custodial fees for my show next weekend would increase by $480 per show. And according to this new fee schedule, my new fee per show will be over $1,100 with reduced hours requested. We, the Opry, the Courthouse Players, Concerts by the Bay, you name them, are not lucky enough to be able to afford to build our own multi-million-dollar facility in Matthews. That's why 25 years ago, we and many others like us partnered with the county to build the one we have, the auditorium. We all worked together to fundraise to outfit the interior of that auditorium. And I know for a fact that all of these organizations who use these facilities would fundraise again if there's a need that isn't in the budget. So I ask you tonight, please don't take it away from us. Don't penalize us just because we are regular users and can't afford our own facility. Don't make us take our business out of the county we love. Help us keep our tax dollars here. Help us continue to provide affordable and unique musical and arts experiences for our citizens in our own backyard, as well as for those from out of town. Please take another look at that document and those fees, and let's work together to find a solution that would continue to benefit the community as a whole. Because 50 years is not just a Virginia's Little Opry legacy, it's also a Matthews legacy. And we all appreciate any help you can give us to keep it that way.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Our next speaker is Lynn Jaeger.
Good evening. My name is Lynn Jaeger, and I'm from Cobbs Creek. I have volunteered with the Courthouse Players since 1998. After my 7-year-old daughter Kayla was cast in My Fair Lady. In 2001, I was instrumental, along with Sherry Hamilton, in coordinating the Courthouse Players to sponsor the Missoula Children's Theater week-long summer camps. The first camp was held in the elementary auditorium with 60 youth from Matthews, Middlesex, and Gloucester. We continue to sponsor the Missoula summer camps in Matthews and Middlesex during July. Over the past 25 years, we have sponsored a minimum of 2 camps over 20 summers, sometimes having 3, 4, or 5 week-long camps with 60 or more youth involved in each camp. My children, including foster children and now my grandchildren, participate in this wonderful performing arts opportunity. Many Matthews families volunteer with Courthouse Plays either as cast members, seamstresses, set builders, directors, producers, executive board members, or whatever is needed. Matthews County Public Schools no longer has a drama program. My daughter, who graduated from Matthews High School in 2008, had the opportunity to participate in one-act performances, high school plays, and community theater. Why hasn't the school board funded a position for a drama teacher? Courthouse Plays has filled this void for many years and has been offering the youth of Matthews the opportunity to engage in performing arts. As listed on the We the Parents website, evidence-based benefits of performing arts include developing oral language skills, building self-confidence and self-esteem, boosting reading achievements, improving social skills, nurturing self-expression, teaching emotional regulation, increasing writing skill outcomes, enhancing self-concept, and promoting sophisticated moral reasoning. In November, as producer, I personally delivered a total of 850 coupons to the 3 schools in Matthews County for students to attend a Frozen Junior performance for free. 74 students took advantage of this opportunity. The Courthouse Players do not have a theater to perform our musicals in or to hold the Matthews County, Missoula summer camps other than the Harry M. Ward Auditorium. It would be detrimental to our organization to no longer have the auditorium to use for these wonderful community performing arts productions. The youth of your county will not benefit from the skills taught during Missoula camps or through participating in live performances. Please reconsider your policy changes to include continued use of the Harry M. Ward Auditorium for our musicals and Missoula summer camps. Mr. Ward's crown jewel was built for the performing arts.
Thank you, Ms. Jager. Mr. David Jones.
Good evening. As a musician myself, and I've lived here now permanently for 30 years, Donks Theater has a long history here. And if you've ever got a chance to go through the old Donks door and see the pictures up on the wall of the talent that's come through those doors, it's incredible. Mr. Ward was a student of my grandmother's, and we held Mr. Ward in high regard. And I was here when it was being built. And it was supposed to be a community function building as well. To disenfranchise the Courthouse Players and Donks Theater and to make it more difficult on them, I don't know if you've ever seen the parking lot when the Courthouse Players are going, they have their shows, and then when Donks have it, people get here early, people come downtown, they shop, they eat their dinner, and they go to a show. It's pretty much all we have to offer them during the, any month that rolls over. My grandson participated in the Courthouse Players. I've gone to a couple of shows. I'm not a big play guy, but my wife dragged me along, and I was amazed at the talent. I really was. So I would really consider taking that thing, a little document there, and shredding that thing up. And I think they understand the rising cost, okay? I don't think that any of them don't understand that things do have to change and costs have to be covered, but not to the extent of $480 for one evening. So I really think that you need to reconsider that. On a second note, I've talked to a couple of the bus drivers. I don't think they're asking for a whole lot. If you think about it, they spend 2¼ hours in the morning and 2¼ hours in the evening busing the children of Matthews County around. All right, so during the time span in between that, they have to be on standby. They're basically on call. Unfortunately, I served 4 years on the board, so I know how your budget works. And if anything, I'm glad they've asked for a meeting, but I'm going to go out on a limb and ask for something else for them. with doing a part-time job like that and having to be on call and ready to go, I think that you should be covering the cost of their health insurance. Okay, I think you can dig deep into your budget, and I know what's there, and I think that should be free to them, because people with good driving records are hard to come by, and faithful employees these days are even harder to come by. So I'd give them a consideration on that to help them as they've collectively come up here on their own tonight to voice their opinion, but they're only asking for some accountability on how their day is going to go.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Okay,
Sir, your time is up. Thank you. Our next speaker is Ms. Molly Hoffman.
I also am here representing the Courthouse Players, which I have been active in for many, many years, not as many as Lynn Jaeger, and she has made many of the points that I would have made. But I would like to point to the interconnections of this community. There are many organizations in this community, and they are all interconnected. Perhaps that hasn't been understood by some people. We depend on each other. I also, with that, would emphasize the connection of the school system to the larger county. We are not separate. My children went through Matthews school system. They're out now. I don't have anybody there. But there is a connection in this county which cannot be overemphasized. The Courthouse Players, which is the group that I'm representing, understood this. That's why they raised so much money, a big contribution, and it was hard work to raise that much money. It's why they provided some expertise in the planning. Now, there is no drama program in the school systems. Those opportunities are provided by organizations outside. When we're talking about drama, that's the Courthouse Players. So, of course, we use the high school auditorium. There are shows that you cannot do in small venues. You need a big stage, you need a real stage, and you need lots of seats. We can't just go down the street to the next big auditorium. Do you want us to leave Matthews County? Do you want us not to provide those opportunities? I think that's all I came up here to say. We are part of the community. That means we're part of the schools. The same, I believe, is true of Donks in different ways, but it's because this is an interconnected community. That's what makes it a community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hoffman. Our next speaker is Ms. Sue Ann Dittmeyer.
Hudgens, Virginia. I'm going to start with a little story, since a lot of people have said what I was going to say. The second show I ever did back in, I don't know, 1987 maybe, was here, in this, no offense, but crummy place, where a lot of people couldn't see. My 7-year-old son, Lucas, was in the show with me, and I remember 7-year-old Lucas and 75-year-old George sitting on the steps there and discussing passionately the sword fighting scene in Brigadoon, which my son called the Brig of Doom because he was 7. If you want to think about Matthews, Matthews is all about sports. Everybody loves sports. Well, having community theater is like a sports team. You have a director who picks the team. You have the people who try out for the team. You have the people that rehearse and work and practice for the team. And then at the end, you have the big game, which is the musical or the straight play. This is important. The arts are important, and they always get swept away. And I'm here to ask you to continue to giving us a reasonable rate to use the auditorium, which Harry Ward wanted and which we, the community, built the inside of, to keep using it so that we can afford it. If we can't afford it, it's not going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, what a shame for those kids whose sport is theater. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dittmeyer. Is there anyone else who has not signed up who would like to speak at the podium? Please approach. Provide your name and address.
Hello, I'm Sean Jager. I live in Susan, Virginia. I am the current president of the Courthouse Players. I know you heard from my mom already. I'm not sure if I sucked her in this time or if she got, I don't know. But basically the stuff I was going to say has already been said, but since I'm the president, I felt I should at least come up here and say I was here. But the one part, the whole part, in the executive summary, it says philosophical questions related to what may be requested for use and the duration/repeated of use school division facilities. That seems to be related to the continued use over extended periods of time by organizations in lieu of erecting or securing their own buildings. And as others have said, anybody who's been here since 2002 knows that the auditorium was built for the students and the community use. There are plaques of donors in the hallway that prove this. I know CHP, Courthouse Players, donated around $20,000, and the community donated at least another $145,000 to make it built. As well as our founder, Dick Lusher, he had also assisted in the design of the auditorium to make it more theater friendly. Of course, at the time, we were using this place, as Sue Ann said, so it was a huge upgrade. So if it wasn't for the community help, there wouldn't be an auditorium. And based on the prohibited activities, it seems that the goal is to stop long-term community use overall. It seems as though the school board wants organizations such as the Courthouse Players, Concert by the Bay, and Donks to stop using the auditorium after 2 to 4 years. Personally, I don't understand the problem of organizations using public facilities long-term for the betterment of the community, especially the youth. Just these organizations, they're providing entertainment for the community, plus something for people to do. And just a little thing about the Courthouse Players. We are a small nonprofit community theater. We provide opportunities to the community and, more importantly, the youth of this area. In summer, we bring the Missoula Children's Theater to do a week-long camp for 60 children aged 5 to 18. And this camp, generally, once it goes live, it's filled up within like an hour or two. We also run at least one children's musical every single fall. This past, I don't know if you guys got to see it, Frozen Junior. We had 62 cast members, ages 5 to 18. I was the director. Personally, I spent well over 200 hours on making that what it was. So we are very dedicated people. It's 100% volunteer. And we love what we do. And it is sad to me that the Matthews County doesn't have a drama program, because that is where I started. Right after we had moved here, David Schuber, I'm sure some of you know him, he came up to me, he's like, "Hey, Sean, we doing our musical, we need a few extra guys. You're interested, small part." At that point, I didn't understand what small part meant. So I had to read through, I learned I had a rap solo, and then I had to dress up as a girl and sing like a girl.
On that note, I'm sorry, your time is up.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Please don't take it away from us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jager.
Hi, my name is Melody Smith. I'm from the Foster area of Virginia, or Matthews. But I just wanted to ask a question. I know you can't answer, but it was my understanding that the county is responsible for the utilities and the maintenance for the schools now. And so I'm just wondering why it's up to y'all to raise the rent or decide who and can't, get to use it when the county pays for the maintenance and the utilities. And that's just all I wanted to say. I was just wondering.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Please approach.
Hi. My name is Beverly. I know some of you might want to call me a come here.
Pardon me, ma'am, may I have your full name and your location?
I beg your pardon?
May I have your full name and your address or your general area?
Beverly Shoemaker.
Okay, thank you. And location?
I live on Gwynn's Island.
Thank you.
I am from the big metropolis of Fairfax County. I chose to come here 7 years ago to live, to get away from that mess, to live in a quiet little town where I want to live out the rest of my life. I love this little town of 6 or whatever stop signs we have compared to 30,000 traffic lights in Fairfax County. And I'm from a very musical family. We all sing, we all play instruments, and we're very large. So when I came to this little town, I thought, oh, there's nothing to do here. Where am I going to go to find my outlet? I found it, Virginia Little Old Opry. When I found that they were performing at that auditorium, I have not missed a show. I have been to every show, not to mention, I call my cousins from Charlottesville, they're coming here. I call my sister from Fairfax, she's coming here. I call my daughter from South Carolina, she brings people up. They're spending money in our little town. And that's what it's all about. Music brings people together, whatever your political beliefs are, whatever you like, dislike, music brings people together. So please, please allow them to perform at that auditorium, because I don't know what I'm going to do, but maybe stand on the street corner and play a guitar and put my little luggage out there to collect money. And that's all I got to say about that.
Thank you very much, Ms. Shoemaker.
Name is Keith Morgan from 120 Calisfield Lane. I was born and raised in Matthews. I was born in Dr. Saddle's office right down at the courthouse, so it don't get no more home than this. Matthews is a community. Everybody pretty much knows everybody. The great thing about Dunks and the courthouse players, it gives our kids an opportunity to not just experience plays and being in them. We have people from the high school that play in the music, that participate. And we always want our kids to have somewhere to go on the weekend, to have something to do besides get in trouble, right? This is what these things give opportunity to. Gets them involved. It helps them be a part of something bigger than they are. And it helps them learn what community and love is all about. Matthews is all about community. We love each other. We care about each other. How can we not let our own people use the facility that we help build? So I'm telling you, we need to keep it going. Let the courthouse, let the Dunks Theater play there. If you've never been to either one, and I've been to both, you're missing a great show. There's no greater band of music anywhere. You can go anywhere. And no better acting than these kids and the plays they put on. It's amazing. You discredit yourself if you've never been to one. You'll find out why everybody loves them. So I'm saying, let's keep it going. I understand a little small raise, maybe 2%, but not no crazy stuff. Everybody knows cost of living, whatever. But they need an opportunity for these children to have somewhere to go on a weekend. And not only that, but to participate and be a part of the music and things that are bigger than they are. And we appreciate your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Come on up.
Good evening. I had not planned to speak tonight. I really came to hear. I wanted to come to learn, to find out the thought processes behind this this proposal, why it was coming forward, what was the reason this came at this time. But just to, I don't want to mimic what people have said because I agree with everything that's been said tonight. But I'm from Concerts by the Bay. The name is Judy Bailey Kinker. I'm in Port Haywood. We bring concerts, 5 major concerts to this area in the winter months when the other season is over. We bring people here that you don't find in this area. We bring names in. We work with an agent out of Nashville. We bring them in from New York, from California, from Florida. We bring them in international names that you don't find in this area unless you have to drive to Richmond, Northern Virginia, maybe Virginia Beach area. We also provide 2 programs in the schools. All programs are free to the students, but we bring in the Virginia Stage Company to acts in the schools, one in Gloucester and one here in Matthews for the elementary students. We have looked for other locations. When prices started going up on us, we've looked. Where can we go? Where's our empty building that can hold us? This is the only location that really can accommodate the size of the people that we have and the size of the stage that the performers need. We strive to keep our ticket prices low. We know it's difficult. We know we want it to be affordable, and it's hard for us. We have no paid staff. We have a very small board, and we do our own fundraising. We do as much as we can to get this, have this brought to us every year, this concert series. And also, we have negotiated with West Point has an excellent program there that's sponsored by the locale. We also have Rappahannock Rappahannock Concert Series, and they have a very wonderful program. We negotiated with them, and we have got, if you buy concert tickets with us, you get to go there free, and vice versa. We try to spread it throughout the entire Middle Peninsula. We have a good name, a good reputation. We like to keep it that way, and please let us stay in Matthews. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Judy, I'm sorry, I did not catch your last name. Could you please restate your last name?
It is hyphenated. It's Bailey, B-A-I-L-E-Y hyphen Kinker, K-I-N-K-E-R.
Thank you.
Sure.
Is there anyone else who would like to approach the podium? Please state your name and residence.
Robert Farmer, 44 Stutz Creek Road. I've lived in this county for 61 years. I remember all of the school facilities being used by the public for sports, volleyball, young adults, older adults using the building. We finally built an auditorium in Matthews that everybody could enjoy. I understand costs are rising and you need to charge. There's taxpayers in the county that don't want to pay for other people's use. But please put something there reasonable and let these organizations continue using our facilities. They belong to the citizens of Matthews County. We pay taxes here. We've used them all our life. Dunks Theater has been in my family since I was a young man. The Courthouse Players, I've been to their plays. Concerts by the Bay, I had an elderly aunt that she lived for those musicals that came there monthly. And to raise the price to drive these people out or restrict the use of that building that gets used 39 times last year, I think, is ridiculous. Charge to pay the price, but to raise the price to run them out of Matthews is ridiculous. My main question to the board is, why all of a sudden did this come forward? It's been going on for years, and now all of a sudden it's a problem. I think somebody needs to dig a little bit deeper.
Thank you, Mr. Farmer. Who else would like to come up? All right. There being none, I will just make a statement here. Although we are not responding at this time, we're so glad you're here tonight, and there will be an opportunity for members to comment on what they've heard during public comment later on in the meeting, according to agenda. Item 6, Superintendent's Informational Reports by Dr. Daniel, starting with the attendance update.
I went to, oh, do we have it? That's fine. Just go to the first slide. Can I control it? Okay, we just need the February anyway. Okay, so just a little bit about the February. So we've seen an uptick in absences this year as compared to last year. Looking into that a little bit further, Ms. Thomas is reporting, we've just, flu and cold season is upon us. Hopefully we're on the other side of that, but the schools and the students were hit pretty hard. So we're especially thankful for the NAACP for their donation of kind of cleaning supplies and helping with some additional Kleenexes and wipes, some Clorox wipes in those classrooms. So tardies, again, as we are kind of tracking tardies for this year, this is somewhat of our baseline year as we're tracking tardies. It's still pretty remarkable to look at the number of students late at the elementary school and then at the high school, just that incidence. And so we can have more conversations once we have a year's worth of data to begin thinking about solutions. How do we address getting kids here on time? And attendance plans, attendance letters, while we're down on attendance letters and down on attendance plans. Then looking at the far right column, the number of chronically absent students are up again over this time last year. So we'll need to continue to monitor that and keep a very close eye on that. And I think we talked a little bit about it in January, and looking at the January data, we typically have higher absenteeism on days returning from snow outages. So I think that trend continues. I can't offer a guess as to why that pattern exists, whether it's folks are still snowed in on those days or concerned about roads. But that's kind of where we are on attendance data for right now. Any questions from the board regarding attendance numbers?
I would just say this continues to be a concern. We do address it. It's a standing item. And I know that Ms. Thomas is doing an outstanding job with this difficult issue, but it remains a challenge. And I would say we would be more than open to creative ideas on how to improve our attendance rates. I mean, we've got to get the kids to school so they can learn.
Great.
Item 6.2.
Madam Chair.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Hodges.
For the purposes of people who are here maybe for the first time, just so they're aware that our schools, the federal government measures our school on chronic absenteeism. That's why it's such a focus area. And it's one of the components that again, we are measured as, not just the SOL tests. They've now added chronic absenteeism. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Right. Plus, we know it's the right thing. I mean, we know it's the right thing to do.
We do know, you know, it's for many students, not being here, you don't learn.
Yes.
Most students, I should say.
True. Item 6.2, the financial report from Mrs. Hundley, our CFO.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right, through the end of February, we have expended 56% of our operating budget. We're continuing to monitor the ESS, the substitute line.
And also, with the rising cost of fuel, we'll be monitoring that cost also. Overall, for the overall budget, we expended 60% through February. And just to give you an update as far as, hopefully by the end of next week, the governor will sign the caboose bill, which is the last year in the biennium. So hopefully she'll sign it by next week, so we'll have an update on that. So the final numbers for fiscal year 26 as far as revenue from the state will be determined. And also at the end of March, we also have our ADM confirmed also.
Right, March 30, I believe, is the snapshot?
Yes.
Is that correct?
March 31st.
Okay, March 31st, okay. Right.
Any questions?
Any questions? There appear to be none. Thank you very much, Mrs. Hundley.
Thank you.
We're on track, okay. Item 6.3, the reorganization of Matthews Elementary School and Thomas Hunter Middle School from Dr. Daniels. We'll be having this as a standing item as well at our meetings.
So a little bit about that. We're kind of in a lull right now as we're prepping for SOL tests. However, in terms of term contract negotiations, we've been back and forth with architectural and engineering firm on finalizing term contract. I'd hoped to have that term contract ready for board review, but we'll definitely have that by the April board meeting. The purpose of that term contract is to have, to not have to go out to RFP every time we want to have some sort of work done. The primary goal is then, with this first term, is working alongside the county on future CIP and bond pools to look at this campus and making it operate better as a pre-K through 7 campus. We've had conversations in the past about athletic facilities at the high school. We've had some conversations with the county about space here at Thomas Hunter for emergency operations center perhaps. And so are there ways to leverage some of the space within the school division to free up or improve services on the county side, and continuing that partnership that we've been forging over the last couple years. So the goal is to, with that term contract, then get some facility studies to take place to get estimated cost, estimated ideas as to how this space could look different as a pre-K through 7, how we can utilize space here for school board offices, that emergency services space for the county, et cetera. So that's moving forward. I've sent it. They sent a draft to me. I sent it to our attorney. Revisions back and forth. So I think we're in the last part of that. As we are also in budget season, and we'll talk a little bit more about budget a little bit later. But as we look at absorbing some of our staff positions, that will then impact master schedule decisions, especially on this campus as they're thinking through integrating 6th and 7th grade requirements, state requirements for what has to happen in middle school, what offerings need to occur in middle school. So those historically aren't as familiar on the elementary school setting. So we're working through some of those nuances, both in staffing, licensure comes into play, and then also master schedule and options. So working through that, we may end up having to, based on, again, some of those staffing and reductions and not filling positions, we may need to share more positions with the high school. So then we have to coordinate some of the master schedule on this campus, then with the master schedule on the high school campus, and having all those schedules coordinate with our regional partners for ROTC or Chesapeake Bay Governor's School and welding and the things along, our regional partners. So we're working through those. The last piece in terms of that is master schedule building, the turnover within Power Schools. So we initially intended for next year's school calendar to be approved tonight. I'm holding that until the April. We'll definitely need to approve that calendar in April, but we wanted to look at, again, any sort of pay raises, contracts, things along those lines for the number of work days within that contract, within that calendar. So we've just held that for one more month, but that will impact some of that Power School rollover and planning process that will start as soon as we approve that calendar for building next year's master schedule within that computer program. If that makes sense. Any questions on any of the reschedule?
Moving to item 6.4, information for the school board.
All right, so field trips, not a lot in the way of field trips being scheduled. So Thomas Hunters, you have the individual school financial reports that are available, announcing the grades K through 2 science instructional materials adoption timeline. So pushing that out so the board and the community is aware of that textbook adoption timeline. The K-12 math textbook adoption timeline. So the math adoption timeline, that adoption of materials is pretty similar to what we went through with the literacy textbooks through VLA, while as not as regimented as the VLA process, the math process is relatively similar. This is, timeline from the state is delayed. So we've been waiting a year for the textbook information to come. So I don't know if eager is the right word to say about any textbook adoption process, but I think having an adopted K-12, having adopted curriculum in math is going to benefit our school division tremendously, just having consistency aligned with new standards. So getting through that is going to be helpful.
May I just add a note on that, just so that people who are not reading the document, just so the community knows, we will have sample materials available for public review and comment for 30 days beginning April 13th. April 13th. And that is going to be on the K-2 science and K-12 math. And a protocol for participating in that will be forwarded and made available on the website, I believe.
On April 10th, that information will be released on the website, the Facebook page, and via Blackboard Connect message.
Fantastic. So April 10th, we'll have all of the information needed to do that. Thank you very much. That's a really important process, and it's a great opportunity for the community to see the materials that are up for adoption. Sorry.
Yes. In reviewing the financial reports, I'm wondering if there is ever a review of accounts that haven't been used for 2 to 3 years, and if we can close those, or if it's an account that has funding in it and it doesn't look like it's going to be used, if that can be transferred to something else, because over the years, there are things that have surfaced that the money has just stayed right there and nothing's been done with it. And it would be nice to clean it up.
Right, agree. And I think we can go through that with a fine-tooth comb. We've done a little bit of that with time to time. I know recently Thomas Hunter went through that process and moved some funds around to kind of close out some older accounts and move those into general funds. I'll defer to Ms. Hunley in terms of the regs and having her oversee all of that. But my understanding is the purpose for that account needs to be as honored as possible, and as you're moving funds into other areas. So we can take a look at that process and try to kind of streamline something that's, for the club that's no longer in existence. What do you do with the $15 that's left in that account, stuff like that?
And I saw, at least one, and maybe there was more, that it was like a memorial for, someone who's passed on. And maybe there was some intent for that, but if there is no plan, if that can be rolled over, again, to your point, to honor whatever the original purpose was for those funds as close as possible.
Okay. All right, facilities use manual. All right, this is, again, kind of going through this a little bit. This is a draft. knowing this is, has the potential to impact the community, wanted to have more conversation about it. While we began this conversation, at least, I think it was last summer's work session, we had initial conversations during that work session about the facilities use process. At that time, I think a concern was aired with a board member about inconsistent rates being charged for usage of the auditorium. So we picked up again that conversation at our last work session to discuss looking at the consistency of how we were enforcing the fee schedule, how we were enforcing the use request. And for the folks in the audience, we also had conversations about what exactly do we rent out? So conversations about buses, conversations about different facilities within the school system, by whom, how often, how regularly does the school division kind of want to be in the rental business, or do we not want to be in the rental business? And I'm hearing like, I don't know that we want to be in the rental business, but I think we want to be in the community services business. So, so then we had some conversation about nonprofit, for-profit. Is there a difference? Does it matter? It may not matter. But in this draft, based on some of the conversations that we had, trying to parse out, should there be, again, going back to the rate differentials being charged, should there be a rate differential for for-profit entities versus nonprofit entities? Again, going back philosophically, do we as a school division, do we allow for-profit entities to profit off of a community resource? And is that something that we're okay with? And maybe that we are. So the first stab at trying to look at a revised facilities use manual is kind of what's before you. So I'll go over the executive summary a little bit to kind of highlight some of those things. So I think over the last year, we've heard of the need for multiple repairs at the auditorium. I think last year we spent a lot of time talking about the leaking roof, the damage then that was causing to the stage floor. We've got numerous lights outs. I know we're looking at utilities, fees, and again, I think the question was asked about utilities and who's paying the utilities. So the county currently pays the utilities for the school divisions, because as they're redoing the lights and the savings, part of that plan was to then, for the county to recoup some of that savings. So the next piece is inconsistent application of existing facilities use guidelines. So some organizations were required to have custodians. Some organizations were not. Some organizations paid a flat fee. Some organizations paid the hourly fee. This manual hasn't changed any of the hourly fees that were already established in the fee schedule. What the proposal was an attempt to establish consistency with how we're charging people and what the expectations are. So to be frank, the folks that we've heard about tonight, they all pay different for the use of the auditorium. There's some agreements, some MOUs from years ago, some agreements, and we can talk about and have conversations about what the appropriate hourly rate is. I tend to believe that we need to have a school, like a custodian on premises when it's being used to maintain facilities, for somebody to have access to restrooms and the cleaning supplies. Another piece that has changed recently is us contracting out with our custodial company services. So part of that contract is The equipment is part of that company. That contract includes the paper products, the cleaning supplies, all of those things. So keeping in mind how that works and some of the, the legal parameters of that, I think we, as a board, entity responsible for renting out, to be consistent and fair about what we are charging various groups. And as we struggled with that in the work session, we kind of had a conversation, like, was leaning towards for-profit and not-profit. And do we want to divide up how that works? So that's why it went a flat fee. My proposal, first draft, was a flat fee for nonprofits and following the established hourly rate for for-profits, but to be consistent on requiring custodial coverage for those events. There are other entities who have used the school facilities who haven't been charged at all and have only paid other folks, retired folks or kind of part-time folks, to provide that custodial coverage. So the biggest issue, the desire in no way is to, at any point, to force anybody out. The desire was to provide consistency and to make sure that the community uses, currently the community uses the auditorium more than the school system does. Okay, and so it's making sure that that resource is maintained and is appropriate for the next person who's coming in to use that, whether it's the high school band or donks or courthouse players. So we've got to make sure that the fee use is appropriate to be able to make the appropriate repairs, which I don't think the repairs have been done historically. And so we're, like a lot of places within the school division, is at a deficit, and we're trying to get caught up on many, many, many of those things. And I don't say that the auditorium is in disrepair because anybody abused it, because I don't think that's the case at all. I think of 20 years of use and a lack of preventative maintenance and attention to detail has taken a toll on that. And so there are challenges to get that up to speed and up to snuff. So what I was attempting to do too in the draft is set up a priority then for scheduling the auditorium. And in doing this, I looked at several other school divisions to get it. What do small communities do similar to us? So I looked at West Points, I looked at Richmond County, I looked at Middlesex. What do large communities do? So I looked at Spotsylvania and pulled theirs, looked at Halifax. Halifax really isn't that large, but looking at kind of what other places do, and so what fits for Matthews, and how do we make that work? How do we continue the things? So many of the places have a priority listing for who does what, who gets scheduled first and gets right of first refusal kinds of things. I looked at fee schedules. If a school division opens it up for profit entities, they typically have a differentiated pay schedule. Not every place opens it up for for-profit entities. So that's a philosophical thing that I think we can continue to discuss. And then a few of the divisions have kind of the regular use or kind of one-time use. And in many of the cases, those school divisions have in there renting of the school facilities was discouraged, tried to discourage long-term use in lieu of building one's own facility. Honestly, typically that's done for churches. So not a lot of school division auditoriums get used for church startups or in the church catches fire, flood damage, water damage, something along those lines, you need a temporary home to house the congregation. And I think most of the times, school divisions fill in and try to honor that request. But I think it's attempting to prevent other use on a regular, long-term basis in lieu of that organization finding permanent housing, if you will, for their show or their business or their organization. I think our situation is what we're grappling with tonight is different. So, like, being able to build a theater somewhere on your own is a challenge. And these are community services that are provided. There's a broad sort of benefit to the community that comes from that. But I think one could also say there's a broad benefit to the community for having churches. So how do you legislate some of that honors what's been happening, but also like gets us moving into the future, provides consistency, and honestly some clarity. So, I mean, as a board, I mean, we can, like, I can go back and take out the cap on years if that's the board's desire. We can talk about, custodians and whether custodians are required. But I would encourage the board to provide some guidance on how we are going to be consistent, because it varies from one organization being charged $275, another organization being charged $785. So that's not right. And so I think that's where we have to figure out, what are the rules of the game? What are the rules for the facilities use piece, so that we can continue with providing the service, providing opportunity to use a community resource. So.
Thank you, Dr. Daniel. Members, do you have any comments or questions for Dr. Daniel on this topic or any of the topics?
I have one quick comment.
Yes, Mr. Morgan.
I think this, yeah, just one very quick comment. I know a lot of people have been very concerned about this issue over the last several days and weeks, and I think I can speak for the entire board in saying that no one up here is trying to stop or curtail the community's use of that auditorium. That's not the way that I see things. That being said, as Dr. Daniel mentioned, we were trying to get things on a more consistent use fee, whether it's going to be hourly or by the event, or just exactly what is the best way to do that, and also to establish some guidelines that apply to every group or organization that uses it. But I've not heard anyone say or indicate in any fashion that we want to stop the community from using it. I've not heard that.
Thanks, Mr. Morgan. Mrs. Hodges?
Yeah, I'm going to save my comments for the 9.0, but I do want to just point out probably that we've discussed in some of our work sessions, not everybody that has used school facilities have left it in the shape that they have found it.
True.
At a bare minimum. No one here, just saying that that has been an issue. So then school staff come in and they have to clean up on a Monday morning or whenever. And so, to your point, it's the consistency, it's making sure it can be ready for school use the next day, and how do we achieve that? But I'll save my comments, the rest of the comments for later. Thank you.
I will do the same.
Okay.
I'll just say a few things here. So, I love the organizations that use the facilities, and the mission is not to stop the regular use. I think one of the main reasons we had a discussion on this at our last work session was we don't want to cause that to be a deficit in our budget. And my own power bill was the highest I'd ever seen it recently. And so I maintain that any fees that we charge, yeah, consistency is good, but they also should cover our costs. Because, and I would think taxpayers would expect us to do that because our mission is student achievement. And I worked here a long time before I served on this board, and I don't think there was any school year where I thought, I have everything I need to do my job. And we, don't want, we don't want, the fees need to just help us recover the costs of the use so that we're not taking from students and what they need, what teachers need to instruct the students. So, yes, but I don't want to see in any of our regular users, our mission's not to kick anybody out, but, we do expect people that use our building to be good stewards of it, so. And we should probably reevaluate the fees from time to time as costs increase and go up. So that's, I'll probably see a little more about that later, but that's all I have for now.
Great, thank you. All right, is there anything more to be said from Dr. Daniels' informational reports? Dr. Daniels, do you have anything else?
I do not.
All right. Thank you. Moving on to item 7, school board informational reports. You'll see 7.1, we have school board conferences and webinars. This is our usual plethora of events that are producing or providing high-quality professional development for us. Please take advantage of those, as we are required to do. Item 7.2, board and committee reports from members and the superintendent, along with our attendance at Board of Supervisors meetings, which our schedule is fleshed out. I will be there on Thursday. Mr. Morgan, April 16th, Ms. Bohannon Stewart, the 21st, Mrs. Hodges on the 18th of June. Is there anyone who has a report from a board meeting or anything that they've attended? I know, Ms. Bohannon Stewart, you did speak about the governor's school.
Would now be an appropriate time to talk about a few school events that I was so impressed with? Or is that not?
Sure.
Yeah. So I attended the math night recently, as Ms. Elward had said, and was very impressed with that. And it reminded me of another event that I had attended, a bingo night. And both of these events, I expected to have a good time. That was my only expectation. And both of those events just exceeded my expectations. Like, students were running those events, and that's just great to see. So, yeah.
Excellent, excellent, good. I agree. That's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on to item 8.
May I
Mrs.
just,
Hodges? Yes.
make a plug for the committee of 2 with Mr. Morgan and myself, as
Yes.
far as policy review.
Yes.
We are meeting, I would say, almost regularly to continue to review our policies. And the fruits of our labor have been shown tonight in the consent agenda. And we will continue to plug along and review those policies.
And I apologize for not bringing that up.
No,
I
that's-
intended
no,
on
it's-
that. It's a huge job. I appreciate your efforts so much, and was indeed shown on the consent agenda how much progress has been made, and you've exceeded the board's expectations on that. So we'll continue to work through those. It's important that we review properly and on a timely basis, and that we are compliant with all of that, with those policies. So thank you for that heavy lift.
And I will say, I found it valuable to make sure that I'm learning things, like, I didn't know that piece was there, I didn't know that. So it's been very valuable as a board member to really understand our policies, and if we need to question some. Thank you.
Thank you for volunteering. Those are voluntary roles, yes.
One note, we have had some questions about SAIL 250 with the school system, And this afternoon, I was corresponding with Mary Beth Burris, who has taken that on for the schools, along with a number of our teachers that are doing projects. And there will be a piece coming out in the Gazette Journal in the near future from Mrs. Burris to just update you all. Living in this wonderful community, this maritime community we have here, it's a great opportunity for our children to take part. And we have adopted a ship. It is the Virginia, which I believe was down at Williams Wharf not too long ago, a few years ago. But anyway, they are doing projects and they're corresponding with the ship's captains and crew prior to their coming into Norfolk in June, when school is out, but we will be able to take some of those children down there. If their parents themselves don't want to go, we are going to be able to arrange that. So just a heads up, keep an eye for the Gazette Journal. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Diggs. That's wonderful. Right, moving on to item 8, we have one action item tonight, item 8.1. It's the adoption of the 2026-2027 operating budget for Matthews County Public Schools. May I have a motion? May I have a motion?
I make a motion to adopt the 2025-2026 operating budget for Matthews County Public Schools as listed.
Nope.
Should be 26,
incorrect.
27, yeah.
Yep.
So it needs to be 26, 27 operating budget. It's just wrong on
Mrs.
that
Hodges,
statement.
the reading of the recommended action should be 2026, 2027.
Oh, yes, thank you. May I amend that?
Yes, please.
I amend my action, my recommended action to state to adopt the 2026-2027 operating budget for Matthews County Public Schools as listed.
Thank you, Mrs. Hodges. Do we have a second?
I second that.
Thank you, Ms. Diggs. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Morgan.
Clarification, what is the final figure that we are about to vote on?
So this budget is based off of, I think the contentious part has been kind of what the local funding.
The local
is.
funding, yes,
So
local funding.
this budget is based off local funding of 8.725 million in local funding. So I know the county is still sort of wrestling and trying to figure out what works for their budget and for the community. I do anticipate a couple things happening. So we'll get a finalized number from the county, I think next week. We'll, hopefully by the end of this week, we'll get updated information from the state on the state budget. That may stretch out a little bit later. So I do anticipate in April timeframe needing to look at an amended budget based on those final numbers, but this is a lot closer to what we anticipate the final budget being than where we started with in January with a 9.4 projected county allocation to us.
Okay, so this vote will be taken on 8.725 million provided by the County of Matthews.
That's correct.
Okay. Included in that number, is there any provision for hiring a transportation director?
In this budget, it does not. This budget has us diverting some of those responsibilities to existing staff. The goal in getting to the number that we needed to was to absorb positions that were going to be vacant. We've had some conversations with different board members as we to then later in a couple months, couple weeks, then look at then prioritizing filling that position instead of what we're doing, so.
But at this moment, there's no.
At this moment, we are not,
Okay.
we're not budgeting to fill that position at this moment.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Yes, Mrs. Hodges?
Dr. Daniel, well, actually, to Dr. Daniel and Dr. Gibbs, if we adopt a budget that's relying on 8.725, was it 8.725? Expectation from county funds, then it seems to me that there's absolutely no, pretty minimal expectation that they would even award the 9.1. If they're saying that we adopt a budget that we can make it, we've adopted that budget. So that automatically, it seems to me, dismisses the fact, would it dismiss the fact that they might award more than that?
I don't know that I can speak to the county. I mean,
But that's my question. You know, I have great difficulties because of the things you just addressed, because of the transportation, many things. Those are just two of them. We just know consequentially what will happen at an 8.725 budget and the toll it will take, from my perspective, on our primary mission of academic achievement. And in that, the dispersing of job responsibilities, so the continuity would be less. And there's much more.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
That's just the that's just the
Right.
top.
And I know the school division's facing challenges with this budget, but I know the county is also going through challenges in other departments and shortfall of revenue, state going to the county as well. So I think during this year's budget process, I think we've done a pretty good job of not pointing fingers or blame, because it is just statewide, countywide, it is a very, very tight budget year. And so we had, I think, had hoped for level funding at that 9.1 level from last year. That doesn't seem to be in the cards for the county right now to be able to fund at that level without some tax increase based on their projections. So we've, again, filling in everybody in the audience, we've had conversations about 8.5 in allocations from the county, 8.7. We had some conversation about an 8.73, so we went with an 8.725. Again, trying to continue to find ways from the school division's perspective. Caleb, can you pull up the, is this the? Okay, so here's, I guess, part of the challenge is, so in blue was our anticipated increase in revenues. So looking at that, a pay raise 1% plus a step for employees, not teacher assistants, was $176,000. Trying to provide additional support for the teacher assistants, so we looked at 5% plus a step. That's approximately $71,000. The biggest impact to our expenditures is Centera, well, the healthcare costs. So part of this budget also has us leaving the Centera healthcare plan and having to move everybody over to Anthem. So because the Anthem plan only increases $258,000. If we stick with Centera, that number is closer to $458,000 in additional expenditures. So we have to figure out too, how much of that can the county absorb? How much of that then do we pass on to employees as part of that additional expenditures? What we are forecasting in terms of reduced revenue is our state revenue is going down $325,665 based on the projection that we got in December. Federal revenue is going down about $9,700. The local revenue from the current FY26 allocation to the 8.725 is a reduction of $423,400. So the gulf between those things is about $1.2 million that we're trying to figure out how do we get these pieces aligned. So what we looked at then is kind of running through a list of how are we meeting some of that shortfall. Okay, part of that strategy is trying to reduce some of the expenditures. The revenue piece is difficult as a school division to change revenue. The only thing that we can do is ask the county for more or get more kids. Okay, so those are a list of the ways that we're looking to meet this loss of revenue and then also reduce some of those expenditures. So prior to even coming into the budget season, we reduced 2 FTEs, and that's from the consolidation. Okay, so then we're trying to reduce 2 more full-time people, 2 part-time people. So right now, in order to meet the budget, 75% of the health insurance costs we're going to have to pass on to employees. So that may end up being a significant impact on employees in terms of their take-home pay. The other piece that we can look at is as other positions become available, absorbing those positions, and we can have a conversation about transportation director, but then we can also talk about putting some of that savings into health insurance to lessen the impact of a 10.2% Anthem increase. Centera's increase was 26%. Okay, and our division costs for health insurance are about $2.2 million. So that's a significant, so, you know, as we talk about costs, health insurance, I mean, everybody knows, like, health insurance just is massive. So again, that's kind of where, you know, how we're looking to most of the strategies and how we get there. Again, total revenue breakdown by fund and things along those lines. But I think the first 2 slides sort of help describe a bit sort of where we are in terms of the budget challenges. So,
Dr. Daniel, would you do a short recap on the increased LCI as well that we're facing?
Sure.
To help the citizens understand that.
Sure. So every 2 years, the state recalculates the local composite index. The local composite index is a formula the state uses to determine a locality's ability to fund the schools. Within that formula, it looks at student enrollment, it looks at income levels of the citizens in the community, and also looks at property tax values. And there's some formula, and part of it's 20%, 40% of this, et cetera, et cetera. So our local composite index went up 7%. So we, from memory, I think we went from a 0.63 to a 0.69, I believe, somewhere around there. I may have those numbers slightly off. So 0.59 to 0.66. Thank you. So that the higher your number, the higher your local composite index indicates the higher the abilities, the locality's ability or expectation to fund. So that puts a greater, it's a double-edged sword for Matthews because we have fewer kids and the state funds us at less per kid. Okay, so it's, that's part of the challenge. So our local composite index in Matthews has gone up for each biennium. I think each of the last 4 biennium has continued to creep and creep and creep and creep. So we're probably in the top quartile of local composite index in the state. So the way the state sees it, we're within the top 25% of counties having an ability to pay for kids or fund schools. So that has an impact on less state revenue coming into Matthews per kid. Okay, so then that leaves more of a burden on the locality to then fund.
That's helpful, thank you. Thank you. I would like to say that this is a very difficult budget year. At the budget work session with the joint, with the Board of Supervisors, I was very concerned in terms of functionality at an 8.725 even request. Functionality in terms of ability to implement curriculum with fidelity and provide a continuity of instruction. So in other words, retaining qualified teachers who are very, very skilled at what they do to be in front of our students. That matters so much. I agree with Mrs. Hodges, the concern of having fewer employees have to shoulder more responsibilities, basically. But I understand the problem that we're in. When we listen to the county, we hear the difficulties that they are facing. So this is a very difficult situation. If I do not feel comfortable with this number, but I fear this is the best number that we can attain. So I would like to ask for that. I don't think there is a 9.1 in our cards. I just don't think it's there. We need that. We would benefit from having that in terms of our priority of student achievement and all of the things that it takes to get that. But I don't think that's realistic. So.
And I even hesitated to make the motion because I have such grave concerns that a needs-based budget for our school division continued to just level. And as many people pointed out tonight, we've not had a drama teacher for years. And that's, I'm just again, skimming the surface. Yeah. We don't have chorus in middle and high school. And those consequences are from just lack of funds to be able to hire that, those positions. But I have great difficulty agreeing to a budget that I fully believe will not move us forward as far as student achievement. I have grave concerns about whether it can do that, for all the reasons you identified, Dr. Gibbs.
I agree.
If I may.
Be good. Oh, there you are.
One point I'd like to make to the public here is when we had our joint budget session with the Board of Supervisors, I personally felt that they were hearing us as a board and our needs and what the shortfall of 8.725 would do for us, very possibly, because we have been so challenged in the past to get teacher salaries up, to achieve the student achievement that these kids deserve, and those teachers are trying so hard to get for them. And I felt that they heard and they want to do more for us, not that they know that they can, but that is why I seconded the motion, because I am hoping and praying that our budget will increase. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Diggs. Ms. Bohannon-Stewart, do you have any comments this time?
I share many of the concerns that you and Ms. Hodges and probably all of us have. I do worry about, having to redistribute, duties and, because I think we have a workforce that, in our school system that probably feels overworked, overstressed, overextended, and I've been in their shoes just a year ago. So, but or more, but, yeah, we're in a tough spot this year. Tough spot. Yes. Increasingly a tough spot every year, it seems like. So
Any more
that's all I have
comments or
to say.
questions or discussion? Any more discussion? There being none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Nay. Motion passes. Thank you, board, it's very difficult. Item 9, citizen comments on items discussed during the meeting. Do we have any citizens who would like to approach the podium for an additional? Okay, we'll just one at a time. Let me get my clock ready. Go ahead. Mr. Jones? If you could just
So-
wait for just 1 second. I'm
Sure.
sorry.
Don't start my time. How y'all doing?
I think you started. You better go.
I appreciate you. All right, so number one, let's talk about the LCI. I'm going to touch on that real quick. Your slide did not have your contribution from the state. So for the folks that are here tonight that want to know how this actually works, I spent 4 hours up at the state making sure I understood it. I understood it perfectly. Whatever the state decides in money-wise to give the school system, that right now, they're telling you that they're going to give you 34% of what the budget that they think that you should be operating under. Call them yourself, take the time. When I was on the board, I took the time to understand it. If you don't understand it, you need to go understand it. It's not a criticism, but if you don't understand it, that's how it works. The state has all of these people that get paid a lot of money to sit up there and say, here's how much we think that you're going to need based upon your cost and your student size and your student population, okay? So with the LCI here being now going from 0.59 to 0.66, I've often told y'all, you're admin heavy, 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 heavy for the amount of students that you have here.
Please
Okay?
respect the speaker, thank you.
Ma'am?
You're fine.
Oh,
Respect the
thank you.
speaker.
Okay, so with that, sometimes when you got too many chiefs and not enough Indians, the Indians get left out, but they're still there to handle the burden of the work, okay? So sometimes the uppers need to step back and say, I don't need any money. Us private business people do it in hard times, okay? We do it all the time. You don't get a cookie. You shouldn't be raising your salaries if things aren't improving. If things were improving, we wouldn't be losing students continually. Some of that's not y'all's fault. Got it. All right, so with that being said, the reason the number wasn't posted up there because anyone that can do basic arithmetic and understands percentages can figure that out on their own. It's real simple. Whatever the state gives you is 34% of your overall budget. They're telling you well in advance what your budget should be. I'm sorry, that's the way it is. So hiring CFOs and then standing up here saying, well, now the fuel is going to impact it. I've been through 4 years of watching the fuel float up and down and also watched a surplus of money at the end of 2 years with level funding because somebody got creative. That's all you got to do is get creative. The citizens can't handle anymore, okay? With the population that's declining, the citizens have said, you know, we've had enough of being taxed. So, and I'm gonna urge the Board of Supervisors. But that number, 8.7, doesn't reflect the fact that you're not paying for the maintenance.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Is there another person who'd like to approach the podium? No? He said it. Okay. Okay. Please state your name and address. Thank you.
My name's Yvonne Rich. I live in Port Haywood, Virginia. I've lived here about 27 years, which of 24, I've been a bus driver, a community-involved person. All of my children and foster children have gotten various scholarships through different programs in our community, wrestling, sports, and all this. And I've watched all this dwindle. Now I'm sitting here, first time ever showed up here. I'm watching our budget dwindle, our NICT scores dwindle. When I moved here, we were at an A and B. We're at steady C's and dropping. And that's because we do not have the support staff, whether it be a bus driver, whether it be a teacher's aide, that is paid for what they're worth. In the budget, there's all these cuts and everything like that, and no faults to you guys that work in the school board office, but you make too much money compared to a good leader or leaders show progress. And what did I say? Progress and what? Remember? I can't remember. But show progress and retention. There's no progress in our scores. And we're losing good teachers. We're losing good supervisors. We're cutting back on people that are overworked. We're trying to push our community out of a building that was built for the community. We've got to start thinking about who this county is and who we want to be, because people move here because who we are. If we change that, they don't want to live here. We don't get taxes. We don't pay salaries. As a group effort, and I'm speaking from everybody, if we don't start putting our pants on the same way and go the same direction, there's not going to be a Matthews. We're going to be absorbed by Gloucester or whoever else. That's it.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Rich.
Yvonne Rich.
Yvonne Rich.
Yvonne.
120 Callisfield again. This may not be part of what you want to hear, but you brought it up about the auditorium. And I just want to say that, and I'm not part of Dunk's Theater. I love going there, and I'm sure I can say the same thing about the other groups that use it. But I have come early before, and the auditorium's been so dirty that we've had to clean it before we could let people come in. And I know for a fact that afterwards, there's 3 or 4 people that stay afterwards to clean it, to make sure it's cleaner than it was when we got there. I've personally cleaned up, and there's been dust bunnies so big, I know they had grandchildren underneath of there. I'm just telling you, it hadn't been cleaned for a long time. And I brought vacuum cleaners and have killed some of them vacuum cleaners, try to clean up. But we leave it cleaner than it was when we found it. And I believe I believe they pay for a custodian. I don't know if that person exists, but we clean it before when we get there, and we clean it when we leave, so it's better when we leave. So I'm just letting you know, everybody don't. I think most of the people that use it, that belong to the county, love the auditorium, love the use of it, and will leave it cleaner than when they found it, because they want to take care of it. It belongs to us. We want to take care of what belongs to us. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Morgan. Is there anyone else who'd like to approach the podium? Mr. Jager?
Hello again, Sean Jager, Susan, Virginia. I was going to actually just reference some of the maintenance stuff. You're talking about the roof leaking. I've been performing on that stage since 2002 when it was built, and as far as I know, it's always leaked. I would say go back to the contractor, but it's probably a little too late for that. And that I know has the water getting onto the stage floor has damaged that because it's just a pine floor. Although I did just learn it's a floating floor on top of rubber, so it might not be that bad to actually replace, because from an article from when it opened, I just read. Also, the curtains in there are kind of getting dry rotted from the water leaking as well. And with courthouse players, we have like the rear curtain, we actually completely flipped around. We've added ropes to it so you don't have to pull on the curtain. The lighting system, I know Mr. Morgan and I talked to you last summer about that. Up on the catwalk, there's about 30 lights, 29 or 30. I think 10 of them are operational, and 7 of those are working because I brought other equipment in to make them work. So the sockets up there is really what's the only thing bad with them. Fortunately, those lights have been discontinued, and you can't get the housings. But I know myself and George Rhodes, he took care of the lights for a long time. I've probably changed 50 to 60 bulbs up there. Just every time we go in there, the first thing I do is I turn all the lights on to see which ones are working. And every time we do something, there's less and less that are actually operational. But if we could just get the sockets for those, I think they're about $20 a piece. We'd be willing to swap them out to get all those operational again. Since we are, one of the big users of them, but that would also help other organizations. It would help the band out because I've helped Mr. Givens with the lights up there too, and it's been fun to try to get everyone lit so they could be seen. So, like us, we're willing to, I know definitely myself, I'd be willing to volunteer my time to help maintain some of this stuff and bring it back up. And then maybe that could be a separate discussion when it comes to pricing and stuff on what we can do to help keep the venue operational so it works for us and works for the rest of the community. So that's pretty much the only thing I want to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Jager. That was helpful. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jackie Knott. I am living in Port Haywood. I've been driving a bus come the end of March for 20 years, both here and in another county. And to hear we might not have a transportation department head is sort of scary. Where I drive at, it is flooded. We're talking water up to here. One thing Mr. Clyde does is he drives my road every morning that it's flooded to tell me if it's safe for me to go down that road. I'm gonna need somebody to tell us, can we go down those roads? Can we not go down those roads? It's scary whether you keep Mr. Clyde or bring somebody else in. We do need somebody in charge of us to help us. Also, on another personal note, this is the first time last year we got our paychecks and you guys cut us separate from the teachers' pays. They got I think 6% raise, we got a 3% raise. That's sad because that means we will never equal any more amount of money other than low. And I don't know if you're aware of this fact, people around here. The bus drivers have to go to Saluda for a drug test. Drive all the way to 17. We don't get paid for that. That's 40 minutes there. That's another half hour, 45 minutes there, another 40 minutes back. Sometimes we got to do it 3 and 4 times a year, depending on the randomness of it. We should be getting paid for that. The classes we take, we should be getting paid for that. This is all like, here you go, volunteer, but you get a whopping 3% raise. And then you're showing the picture up there saying our health care might go up 75%. How are we gonna pay for that? Honestly, mostly every bus driver here has a second job because we can't make it any other way. So I'm really sorry, but this is sort of upsetting to me. And I'd like to know, are you going to drive my run and other people's runs to see if we can go down there in the morning? I leave my house at dark. I need to know what I'm going into because I can't back up 3 miles. Thank you very much. Sorry.
Thank you, Ms.
that.
Knight.
Not.
Sorry. My ears are so plugged, I can't hear.
Linda Burton, Gloucester. I just want to talk about custodial. I'm with Concerts by the Bay. And we pay the custodial person 6 hours. The new policy, you're gonna pay her an additional hour and a half. The person that we get comes in, you can't find her. She's always gone. We look, we need a door open, we need something open. She's never there. You gotta run all over. We're doing things that we need to do to get the concerts going and, you know, do what we need to do. But a simple thing like a chair that you need somewhere, we can't even find her. I don't know where she goes. I don't know if she goes down the hall, smokes, I don't know what she's doing. But to pay her another hour and a half to clean when she does nothing. So we're paying her $210 every time she comes, you know, to be at a concert. She doesn't need to be there at 12 o'clock when we are there. She's doing nothing. And it's really aggravating because she's not there to help us. So I think it's just a waste of money. $210 is too much for Sunday to pay a custodial to do nothing.
Thank you, Ms. Burton.
Pardon?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Who else would like to approach the podium?
My name is Cindy Bocry, B-O-C-R-I-E. I live in Middlesex. I have long connections to Matthews. My sister teaches in the school system. My brother lived here for 35 years. I have multiple friends in the community. I've done home nursing in the community. I do feel connected here. And also long experience with the auditorium through Courthouse Players. Also have done things in this building, which I also assume would be off limits if the plan is to tell us to find somewhere else to go. I'm happy to hear that that's not your goal. We have offered numerous times before that we would help. We see the damage, we see what needs to be done, that we would help with some of those repairs. Two comments I had, one on the janitorial things that the last one brought up. We also always pay for janitorial services. I don't know who's not paying, but it's not us. We always pay. We also always check, as another speaker said, we always check and clean up after ourselves. We clean up before we start, we clean up after we're done. Whenever we're talking about refreshments to serve, we're always thinking about what's going to make a mess, what can we not serve, what can we have to serve. And yet we pay these janitors, and then we're always having to call the office and say, we have no toilet paper, we have no paper towels, they haven't emptied the trash, the toilet was stopped up. It's not, there are some good, we've had some good responses, but we've also had a lot of that. So I did want to mention those items as well. And one more plug I would make for Courthouse Players that I don't think anyone else covered. We talked about that it is a big opportunity for the children, but it also is a big opportunity for families to do something together. And there's not a lot of that here. You can watch your children play baseball. You can watch your children play in the band. Your children can watch you do something that, you know, go to your quilting guild or whatever else that you choose to do. But Courthouse Players is something that families do together. We do have some shows that are adults only. We do have some shows that are children only. But we have now 3 generations of families who do this together. I know Linda on the board, Ms. Hodges, did it with her daughter at least once. I actually remember one of her costumes. And I did it with my children. Several of these other people have done it with their children. I'm working now with the 250 committee to put on the Crickets on a Hill, the story about the battle at Gwynn's Island that Courthouse Players is doing with them. That's another tie I have to your community. And we have some 3rd generation people in that show.
Ms. Cindy, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Thank you very much. Your 3 minutes is up. Thank you. And I apologize. Do we have any more Matthews citizens that would like to approach the podium? All right. There being none, we'll move into school board member comments. Ms. Hodges?
As you know, I don't shy away. I just want to thank each of you that have taken the time to come out tonight to offer your thoughts about a variety of issues. And please know, this board hears you, listens to you, and we go back and we take them quite seriously and go back and discuss what changes, if it's in our power, that we can make based on sometimes competing concerns. Mr. Jones, I thank you for your thoughts about the LCI. I think we all, the board well understands how that works. And for those who are here, it's a sum total game. It's some counties listen, excuse me, some counties are raised, other counties are lowered. It's not that everybody's lowered. It's a sum total game. And I urge you to reach out to our delegate and our senator to ask them to reevaluate how the state funds local school divisions, because our county is suffering because of the way that this state funds our education, which also means if you can't afford it, we're not Northern Virginia. If you can't afford it, our students suffer, and it hurts everybody. Most importantly, the students who are our primary focus. I do want to make some other points. I, as some of you have referenced and speaks to my age, I well recall when the auditorium was built, and that the intent was to be a community facility for the schools and the community. And I well recall the fundraiser by Courthouse Players and the expertise that was used to build the inward building, the sound system specifically by Mr. Lusher. Dr. Daniel, I appreciate your going over the thinking behind the draft policy so that we do treat people equally and there's not partisanship involved with how we treat different organizations. And I think, you know, as I said earlier, our budget has slowly diminished over the years. And we haven't been able to hire, in my opinion, some of the teachers that I think can make a difference in children that aren't playing sports, drama teacher, chorus teachers, and that is very disturbing to me, because we know that Dunks, well, not Dunks, Little Opry, sorry, Courthouse Players is often built on what our students learn in school, and musically, acting, that moves them forward to be part of those groups. I well understand that. But again, our budget is dwindling, and we're trying to do the best. That sounds lame. We're trying to figure out we need to know what our priorities are and what we can do, and what unfortunately has to fall to the wayside. But please know that we take every single comment very seriously. And again, I want to extend my thanks for each of you who have taken the time to either write to us or speak here tonight.
Thank you, Mrs. Hodges. Ms. Diggs.
I'm going to repeat a little of what she just said. Am I on? Yeah. This afternoon, I sat down at home and I wrote a little blurb here in response to some of the comments that I had received from some of you. Perhaps you're at home tonight. Before I read those comments, I have to add a little bit. Being a lifelong member here in Matthews County, I too love this county, and I don't want to see our kids hurt at all. I don't want to see your organizations hurt. And we, I think, jointly with the Board of Supervisors are doing everything we can to keep taxes down and to keep everything else operating the best we can. I've met with some of you, with some of your organizations, and I know they're huge challenges for all of us. But When I attended Matthews High School a few years ago, I worked with the drama department, not on stage, but Thomas Callis and I, we were the ones who did the stage set and the change out, and I loved it. But we had a good drama club. We did good things. My oldest sister went on to college, and she continued with drama there. I got to know Merle and Dick Lusher personally, ate at their homes more than once or twice. And I know the work that you and Dick put into all of this for Matthews County. And I know that the Little Old Opry, I've been here over 50 years, and I know that a number of years ago, Dolly Parton came here and sang. I didn't hear her. I wish I had, but she's probably old enough. But anyway, we have a vested interest in this county in the arts, and we have the Bay School over here, and just so much that you all represent. And what I wrote today, I'll read. Harry Ward was a wonderful man who served our schools and this county well. We knew him and we loved him. The auditorium, built and named for him, has been and will continue to be used by the citizens of Matthews for years to come. We will work these things out, I'm sure. I thank each one of you who wrote us with your concerns as keepers of these buildings. It is our responsibility to maintain the buildings and to be conscious of the wear and tear, as you all already are, for each of the facilities. With the years of use, updates are necessary, and they do cost us. Though organizations pay for their use, more requests come in, which is not a bad thing. But they cause the board to evaluate, what changes might be needed. As the dollars are tight for all of us, we need to cover cost, and we hope to reach a fair and consistent guidelines with everyone. Thank you all for your concerns and your coming and voicing yourselves tonight. Thank you.
Ms. Diggs.
Do you want me to go next?
Superintendent Stewart?
Okay. So I appreciate everybody coming. I love seeing more of our community at school board meetings. I always learn a lot listening to the comments. As far as transportation goes, I am so impressed with how you have organized, and it's very heartwarming to see your devotion to your leader. And I do appreciate you safely transporting our kids to and from school, to and from sporting events, field trips. Thank you. I really appreciate that. So I will say just a few more things about the facility use. I just need to maintain that, again, fees should cover the costs that we incur. I would think taxpayers would expect that. And it is because I guess we often feel like we never have enough money to do what we'd really like to do for the kids. And like I said, when I worked here, there wasn't a year where I really felt like I had everything I needed, whether that was assistance from teacher assistant. I worked with a great one, but I wished I had more overtime, or more supplies. And we cannot run a deficit because of, other people using our building. I do want that use to continue as long as organizations remain good stewards of our building, but we must do things to recoup the cost because of our budget. But I would like to see the regular use continue. I come to Donk's Little Opry shows. I love them. I see how much the community loves them too. And I've taken my own daughter to Courthouse Player productions. I haven't made it to any of the other organizations' things, but I'm sure those are great too. I hear that the community loves them. So, yes, but that's, we just got to make sure we do what we can, because our focus is student achievement. And so, yes, but that's all I have to say about items that were spoken about tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Bohannon Stewart. Mr. Morgan?
Yes, a couple of things real quickly here. First of all, I too would like to thank each and every one of you for coming out this evening and sharing your thoughts and concerns and so forth with us. We appreciate it. We're always glad to hear from you. Mr. Jones explained a little bit more thoroughly a little earlier about the LCI and how it works, and essentially the state sets your budget. State says this is what we think you should need, what you should need, and we're going to give you this much. The rest of it's up to you. So our operating budget, proposed operating budget for the upcoming fiscal year is $15,257,439. Now keep in mind, about 81%, I believe, of that is personnel, salaries. If you do the math, you find out that $15,257,439, the 66% that the locality is responsible for comes out to $10,069,909.74. The state would give us $5,187,529.26. Now, I know these numbers are maybe not precise because we don't know exactly yet. I don't think the governor has released the biennial budget. Last I heard, it had not been approved, so that could change slightly. But just to put it in perspective for you, and also that $15,257,000 operating budget is down. This will be the third year in a row it's gone down, not up. So we are trying to be frugal, trying to be. Just giving you that just to put it in a little bit of perspective for you.
Excuse me, the members are giving their reports. Mr. Morgan, are you finished?
Yes, I'm finished.
Okay. From all the qualitative and quantitative commentary from the board members, I have little to add, but I would like to say thank you to all of the people who texted, called, wrote letters, and emailed all of us in the last several days. And for those specifically who are here tonight and everybody watching at home, this board understands that this is a very important issue. The issues that were discussed here tonight are all very important. We don't take your comments lightly. It's very, we have a heavy burden to incorporate all of your comments, your wishes, your thoughts, your recalls from the past, and it was very informative for me particularly. One common theme that seemed to emerge tonight, specifically discussing the facilities use policy or regulation draft, was, and I did hear this, even though it was slight on some speakers, was the desire to work together as a community. We can do this. Matthews is magical in that way. We have that going for us. That is free. That is a matter of will. And I believe that we have the will to do that, to work together, to come to a fair and reasonable understanding of how to manage, in particular, the auditorium's use so that the community thrives, and that's all ages. Surrounding areas continue to come to our community, that we grow our children from the inside out, and that contributes to our schools in terms of the performance. I think it was Molly Hoffman who talked about the interconnections That was great. And Ms. Dittmeyer, who said, theater is a sport. I mean, it is. I am a thespian myself. I totally appreciate this. However, on this board, I believe that we would all see the board has very little room to supply, to subsidize, we don't have the luxury to be able to make up the difference. So if we can find a way together so that there is a wash, I do not, and I'm going to go out here and say, this is not a revenue-producing endeavor that we're in as a board. I do not wish it to be that way. But the revenue would come in the building of the spirits of the people who attend the events at the auditorium. But thank you for Dr. Daniel, as Mrs. Hodges and the other members said. I do believe that it is time to have a consistent approach, and I think that makes us better. That makes it clear, that makes it more transparent, but we need to keep working on that draft. And I think we've heard that here tonight and for the last few days. Regarding the transportation department, I'm very concerned about the functionality of that department. I realize the safety and the concerns by families for their students, the very difficult terrain that we in particular in this county, that you all navigate, is not like other counties. Our budget in that department is quite extensive as compared to other counties, just due to the layout of our county. So we understand that. But it doesn't mean that we are concerned. We are very concerned. I don't think we know how the organization of that department will lay out quite yet. So I'd ask you as well, and I'm looking at the mass bus driver attendees here, I hear you, to work with us, to let's keep talking, let's keep working together. As I heard the theme regarding facilities use, we're a community, we must work together. We cannot be at odds with each other. We will find solutions. We will do the best. We will absolutely do the best we can for you. And I am very, very concerned about the functionality. I hear your request. I have noted the request, yes, that you would wish to speak to the full board. I did hear that. And regarding the budget overall, it's a very difficult, complicated budget that the schools run. There are many different lenses through which to look at it. The numbers never get bigger. They're always getting smaller. As I said in the work session the other day with the Board of Supervisors, it is not a matter of doing more with less. It's possibly having to expect less with less. That is a devastating thing to say. And we're going to fight, this board is going to fight. Again, I've said it a million times. 5 different people up here with very different views on a lot of things work together well for the benefit of the students, the staff, and the county at large. We will never stop doing that. This board works hard together to do the best we can with the information we have at the time. Please continue to reach out to us. This has been a wonderful meeting. I appreciate the sincerity and the passion at the podium, and I appreciate your dignity in the audience this evening. Thank you very much. Any more last comments or thoughts? Dr. Daniel, Ms. Hunley?
Dr. Gibbs,
Yes,
one more
ma'am.
thing here.
Yes.
I failed to speak to the bus drivers in my comments.
Okay.
But I live down Port Hayward, and I know New Point, and I know Onemo, et cetera, those low places you folks drive, because I've had to go down when I had guests, and I had to back up, so I can't imagine. But you people, we are going to work with you, and we hear you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Diggs. All right, moving on to item 11, other business by school board members or superintendent. 11.1, we do have a town hall coming up on Tuesday, April 14th, 2026 at 6 to 8 p.m. in this building, the J. Murray Brooks Auditorium at Thomas Hunter Middle School. Item 11.2, our next monthly closed meeting will be Tuesday, April 21st. You'll recall that is a voting day. It will be at 5 p.m. in the Media Center at Matthews High School, so that is a location change. And that is followed immediately by our next monthly meeting, which will be Tuesday, April 21st, 2026 at 6 p.m., again in the Media Center at Matthews High School. Please make a note of that. And with that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.